Hi guys, good evening everyone. Today we'll discuss about Java, a Spring auto wiring. In the last class we were discussing about how a container will create an object, and we have seen dependency injection like setter and constructor dependency injection. And we were also discuss what is the importance of at required annotation, isn't it? And Spring configuration files. Okay, we have seen how in how many ways we can prepare like your value as an attribute. Okay, value as an element, and using p schema and c schema. Everything we have seen yesterday, and we have also seen how would we insert a, list types, map types, set types using dependency injection. Today we'll see something called auto wiring. Guys, auto wiring, the name itself indicates automatically. Okay, automatic dependency injection of secondary dependencies. Guys, we know using dependency injection, you can inject three types of variables. You can inject list types, set types, map types, primitive types, isn't it? Okay, primitive types, collection types, and reference types. The last one, reference type, is the important. Okay, is the mostly used as dependency injection concept in the Spring framework. Every time, very rarely we will use that collection types as well as the primitive types. Okay, 90% we will always use reference types. Okay, how do we inject the reference types? I have shown you yesterday. In the reference types, we'll have dependent class, dependency class. Okay, and we have to use a ref variable, ref tag there in order to insert. In that reference variable also you can insert as a ref as an element, ref as an attribute, and we have also seen okay a p schema using that p schema and c schema for that as well, guys. And there is something called auto wiring. This auto wiring will be applicable for only a reference types. This auto wiring can be used only for the reference types, not for the primitive types, not for the collection types. This, see guys, automatic dependency injection of reference types. Okay, means a reference of one class into another class. Means automatic dependency injection. You are not using any ref tag there. Okay, you are using two approaches here. Okay, automatic dependency injection of a reference of one class into another class. Means a reference of dependency class into the dependent class is called auto wiring. See here, auto wiring is used to perform automatic dependency injection. Guys, the process of injecting the reference type dependencies. Reference type dependencies, we also call it as a secondary dependencies. Okay, into the dependent bean automatically without using any setter and getter methods or constructors is called auto wiring. Using auto wiring, guys. Yes.
আমার তো 10টা বাজবে।
Guys, please be on mute. Guys, using auto wiring, what we can do? We are doing automatic dependency injection of a secondary reference variables or reference variable of one class. One class means the sense dependent class. Okay, a dependency class into the dependent class automatically. Okay, using auto wiring, we don't need to inject the secondary dependencies, guys. Reference variables, reference dependencies are also called secondary dependencies into the bean explicitly. Okay, we don't, as a programmer, we don't need to inject. IOC container will take care about injecting the secondary dependencies. This in turn reduces the usage of more tags in the XML. Okay, auto wiring can be done by programmer or manually. Guys, this auto wiring you can perform in two approaches. As a programmer, we can do manually or by annotation also, or by using something called annotations. Yesterday we have discussed about some annotation called at required, isn't it? Okay, what is the function of at required annotation? At required annotation is used to make a particular setter methods mandatory. Okay, see, you can do using two approaches, either manually by the programmer or by using annotations. First we'll see manually by the programmer. Guys, manually by the programmer makes use of a four attributes in the XML file. That the four attributes are by type, by name, auto detect, and constructor. Guys, by type and by name are used for automatic dependency injection of reference type using setter and getter methods. Using setter and getter methods, constructor is used for the same purpose, for injecting reference type into the okay for automatic dependency injection to the dependent class using constructor dependency injection. Auto detect, whether we can use it when you are using both constructor and okay setter, this is a legacy. Okay, we are not using this in a Spring framework now. Guys, by type and by name. See here, by type and by name attributes are used for setter dependency injection of secondary dependencies or reference types. Constructor attribute is used for constructor dependency injection of secondary dependencies or reference types. Auto detect attribute works only in Spring 2. Okay, older versions we were using Spring 2 and lower. Okay, so auto detect is not there. Starting from Spring 3, we will not be using that. Okay, in older versions we are using that. Right now I am using Spring 4. Okay, the auto wiring using annotations, guys. Auto wiring, the auto wiring using annotations makes use of annotations called at auto wired at qualifier. Okay, this is at qualifier. Okay, there's two approaches. One approach is manually by the programmer. Second approach is using annotations. Manually by the programmer uses four attributes: by type, by name, auto detect, and constructor. Using annotations, you have to use two annotations: at auto word, at qualifier. Guys, now we'll see. Okay, how do we use that four? Okay, first manually by the programmer, and it makes use of by type, by name. Okay, right, we will see that first by type, by name, okay, and constructor. Then we will go for the okay uh, annotation approach. Let's see here. I- See if you're okay you're just injecting a reference of one class into another class. Yes, as yesterday I have told you, we will have two classes here: dependent class, dependency class. Dependent class means this class, employee class, is depending upon address class. See here, employee class. Say I have designed, okay, I have written one class here, public class employee. It is depending upon one reference variable of another class, private address add. Address add is a another class. Address add is another class whose object will be created by the container during runtime, and it will be injected into this employee class during runtime only. But now automatically, without using a ref tag. Without using a ref tag, we will use okay two approaches: manually by the programmer or by the annotations. Guys, you know, as usual, private employee class depends upon address class. For this address, okay, you generate setters and getters, and you design your own methods. Okay, public void get information method, system.out.println. The house number is add.get house number. Get house number is the non-static method present in the address class. You can see here. Okay, see here. And similarly, the house number is okay. The house name is add. The house city is add.get city. Means get city is again non-static method present in the address class here. You can see here. Okay, so totally, if you want to call non-static method called get information method, you want object of employee. Inside that, you are calling get information method. Means what? Okay, during runtime, container should also create a object of address, and it should be injected into this variable called add. Using this variable from the employee class itself, you are calling get house number and get city. Okay, and similarly, say here dependency class is there. Okay, dependency class is an address class. The class name is address. There are okay two primitive dependencies here. One is a private int house number, private string city, generate setters and getters. Okay, as usual for this. Now, guys, this is the first step. The next step is, guys, you can see here, creating a Spring configuration file. Okay, so creating a Spring configuration file. You know, these are all default dependencies till XSD. Till this tag, all default dependencies in every Spring configuration file, you have to keep it. Now, see first what your container should do. Container should create a object. You should tell your container to create a object of address class, and then during runtime, it should inject into the employee class. Okay, it should inject that okay object address okay into the employee class. Then say you're telling your container here to create the object of address class first. You know how to open the bean tag ID. Okay, ID I will give. Okay, for example, ID I will give add one. Okay, class. Okay, add one class com dot see the fully qualified class name of address class. What you're doing, you're telling your container to create a object of address first. Say fully qualified class name of address class we have pasted here. Address class again, you know, address class again depends on two primitive dependencies: house number and city. Okay, inject using p schema. P hyphen house number is equals to 145. P hyphen city is equals to Bangalore. You can see here Again, you need employee class also, right? Because if you want to call this get information method, I should tell my container to create object of employee class also. So I am telling, okay, my container to create object of employee class as well. Bean ID is equals to employee, class is equals to fully qualified class name. Guys, you can see here, I have used one, okay, attribute called auto wire. I've used one attribute called auto wire. I have taken by type. Okay, first time I have taken by type. If I take like this, what your container will do is, container will search on which type, okay, on which type the employee class depends, okay, on which type the employee class depends, and for that type, okay, container will create a object automatically, in the sense that objects, that for that, okay, object reference will be automatically injected into the employee class. See, the name itself indicates by type, means container will search on which type employee class depends. Guys, on which type your employee class depends? Your employee class depends on address type. See here, the type of the reference variable is address, right? For this, container will automatically create the object and it will inject into the add. Okay, it will inject into the this reference variable. Okay, that's why here it is taken as a by type. See guys, in this configuration file, we are not injecting the secondary dependency called add. See here, secondary dependency called add of type address, okay, into the employee class by using either setter or constructor dependency injection. I am not taking any here a ref tag. Okay, simply I'm just taking auto where is equals to by type. Here, the Spring container will automatically inject the secondary dependency called add one. Okay, secondary dependency called add one means, guys, first it will search on which type it depends. Okay, address type, right? For that, okay, it will create address add one is equals to new address. In that add one, okay, in that add one, the memory address, the object's address will be there, right? That object address will be transferred into the add here. That object's address will be transferred into the add during runtime. During runtime automatically. See here. Here, the Spring container will automatically inject the secondary dependency called add one of type address of type address into the employee class by using auto wiring, because we have configured auto wire attribute is equals to by type in the above XML file. Okay, whenever you give, okay, by type, it will go and search on which type your employee class depends. For that type, it will automatically create the object. It will inject during a runtime. See guys, what I have done? I have just, okay, prepared my driver class here. Instantiate your, okay, class path application context. CTX is equals to new class path application context. Okay, employee emp is equals to new employee. Then emp one dot get information. Because if you want to call get information method is a non-static method. So you want an object of employee, right? Inside this get information method, you are calling get house number and get city. So if you want to call these two non-static methods present in the address class, you need a address objects. So this address objects will be automatically injected during a runtime using a byte type mechanism here. Okay, let's go to the IDE. Let's go to the IDE, guys. See here, there is a address class. There is an address class here. There is an employee class. See, for now, what you do is you just, okay, you just take out this whole thing, and see your address, your dependent class depends on which variable? Your dependent class depends on private address add. You can see here, private address add. Okay, just copy this. Okay, put it in your dependent class. And then, okay, generate setters and getters method for this. You know how to generate setters and getters method for this. Private add, go to the source, okay, generate setters and getters. You can see here, generate setters and getters. Okay, I need for add field. So generate it. Guys, now I have generated setters and getters. Okay, you can delete this because I am not using any auto wired, okay, annotation here. If you use auto wired annotation and qualifier annotation, I will show you, okay, how to import it. Okay. So guys, now this is fine, right? See, set my, okay, dependent class is ready. My dependent class is ready. Now this is your dependency class. Okay, this is your dependency class. Let's go to the configuration file. In the configuration file, you have to do some modifications. Guys, everything is same. You just need to delete this instantiation. Auto wide annotation bean post processor. Okay, just delete this. Guys, here you have to use, see here, in the configuration file, you have to use auto wire attribute. Auto wire attribute. Auto wire is equals to by type. You can see here there is a by type. Okay, just save it. Check it whether XML file is correct or not. See, you're telling your address, you're telling your container to create objects of address, pasted fully qualified class name. It is depending upon two primitive types. Okay, house number and city. Okay, and then ID is equals to employee, fully qualified class of employee, and then auto wire is equals to by type. Okay, just save the XML files. Make sure that you have saved dependence class, dependency class also. Okay, you have saved this and come back to the test class. See the test class very same. Okay, you have instantiated your container employee emp is equals to new employee. Okay, and then you, okay, run your test class. And before that, go to the employee class. The city is, okay, everything is right. Run as Java application. Guys, the house number is 66. The city is USA. See, it is automatically injected. Means during runtime, okay, it is searching based on the type, on which type your employee class depends. For that type, it has created an object and it has injected that reference into the add. Okay, using that, we are calling, okay, house number and, okay, get house number non-static method and get city non-static method from your driver class. This is okay, called by using by type mechanism. Guys, the next one is by name mechanism. The name itself indicates by name mechanism. What your by name mechanism will do? You keep on changing only, okay, dependency class is same, dependent class is also same. You have to change, okay, auto wire is equals to by name. See guys, by name, it will search based on the name of the reference variable. Name of the reference variable means on which name your employee class depends. Okay, what is the name of the reference variable? What is the name of the reference variable on which your employee class depends? What is the name of the reference variable on which employee class depends, guys? Add. See, on add, okay, this is the name of the reference variable. This is the type of the reference variable, right? See, for and whichever the name it finds here, for that name, it will create an object again. It will create an object, okay, and it will, okay, inject into the dependent class using at runtime automatically. In the by name mechanism, first container will create a objects of address class. Same guys. After creating the object of address class, then it will create a object of employee class. Here, the employee class depends on the address object, you know. Spring container will search for the name of the secondary dependency. Name of the secondary dependency on which employee class depends, and for that corresponding type, container will create an object and it will inject into the employee class, okay, by using setter dependency injection. This process is called auto wiring using by name mechanism. Okay, very simple. By type in the sense it will go and search on which type, okay, and which type your employee class depends. Okay, if I give a name, it will directly go for the name itself, not type. On which it will search on which name of the secondary reference variable your dependent class, okay, depends. Okay, I will just go and modify a Spring configuration file. Instead of taking by type, I will take by name. Guys, we don't use all these things now. Okay, we will use all annotations only. But I will still, okay, you should know what is meant by, okay, a manual approach. That's why I'm showing this. We will use auto-wide annotation. We don't use this story and all. Guys, by name mechanism, go to the test. Okay, run as Java application. See, I am getting now. wrong output somewhere. Address class, employee class. See guys, what it is showing? Exception in thread main, java.lang.null pointer exception. Okay. Cannot invoke com.autowiring spring dot get house number because this dot add is a null. This dot add is a null. In the by name mechanism, what what is the thing you have to remember is whatever the reference address you have declared. What is the reference whatever the reference address you have declared in the dependent class. So here you have declared add in the test in the address all in the configuration file also you have to take add only here. Okay, because it will search on the name should be okay, name should be same in the XML file as well as the dependent class, but in by type mechanism you can take however you want because it will search on the type in the sense address, right? Type in the sense address there. That's why okay, whenever you are typing by name mechanism, the name of the reference variable must be same, okay, in case of in dependent class as well as a Spring configuration file. Say I'm getting output, the house number is 66, the city is USA. There's any doubts in by type and by name mechanism? Hope no doubts. Guys, the next one, see this by type and by name mechanism are used to inject a reference types or secondary dependencies into the dependent bean using setter and getter methods. Using setter and getter methods. And there is a something called constructor mechanism. In the sense, there is something called constructor. Okay. See, totally we have okay, by name, by type, constructor, auto detect. Auto detect we were using in older versions. Only constructor is there now. That constructor attribute is used to inject a reference types into the dependent class by using constructor dependency injection. By using constructor dependency injection. Guys, what you do is let's come back to the okay IDE address. Guys, I need constructor dependency injection now. What I will do is see here, I will take out this whole thing. Okay, I don't need okay this one also. I don't need my own method because I will use one default method called toString method. Okay, delete it. Guys, generate constructors for this. You know how to generate constructors for the field. Select, go to the source. Okay, generate. Okay, constructor using fields. Generate constructor using fields. Generate it. See my okay class is ready now. Okay, with constructor dependency injection, my class is ready. Means dependent class is ready. Let's go to the dependency class. See in the dependency class again. Okay, see this is your dependent class. Okay, and next one is dependency class. Int house number, string city is there. Okay, for the two fields you have to again okay generate a constructors because I don't want any setters and getters here. I will just delete this. Select these two fields. Select these two fields. Okay, go to the source, generate constructors. Generate constructor using fields. You can see generate constructor using fields. Okay, generate it. Guys, I've generated. You just rearrange your program. I've generated here. Guys, including this, you can generate okay a toString method to just to check whether okay to just to check whether dependency injection is happening or not and we are getting a required object or not. In any class you can also generate something called toString method. Okay, how you do is select this. Okay, go to the address class first, go to the dependency class, select this address add, go to the source, generate toString. You can see here there is something called generate toString. Generate toString method here. Okay, see here generate toString. You can find there is one method called here generate okay toString. just Control C, Control V. Okay. Keep your toString method at the end of a program. Say I've generated toString method. Again, go to the address class also. In similar way, select these two, go to the source, generate toString for this as well. Okay. Just yes, every time I was just preparing get information method, right, to see whether it is happening or not. Now I will generate toString method. Guys, what is this toString method will do? Okay, see here. I've generated toString method, right? Public string toString method. You don't worry about this override annotation because toString method is a toString method is a method which is present in some other class. Okay, it is a default method present in a Java package. We are overriding it to confirm whether overridden is happened perfectly or not. We can also use override method, override annotation. Guys, public string toString method. The employee name is, see guys, the method name is toString. The return type is string. Whenever, see, we don't need to call this method. If you just print, if you just print add here, if you just print this reference variable, it is returning, see here, return employee object. Return employee object. Inside the employee object, address add will be stored during runtime. See, address add will be stored during runtime. Similarly, you if you call address method, okay, it will also return address object. In that, okay, house number will be injected, okay, city will be injected. To confirm whether it is happening or not, you can use a toString method. Go to the auto configuration file, guys. What I will do is this time by name is equals to, okay, auto-var is equals to constructor. Auto-var is equals to constructor. Okay, you can save the program, go to the test class. What I will do is I will just directly print my system that out dot println. Okay, say toString method is giving you string, right? What is there in that string? Address object directly. So what I will do is I will just print add one directly in my toString method. Or 1 minute, in the address objects, what is the thing I have taken? Add I have taken. Okay, let's okay add directly. It will give you add system.out.println add. Let's go to the auto config file. Sorry, emp1. Your toString method is present in employee class. Let's go to the test class. Make it as a emp1. Okay, what is there in the employee class? In the configuration file, there is a emp. Okay, let's give emp itself here. How? Yes. Guys, now this is your driver class. Same, instantiating your class path XML container, loading autoconfig.xml. See, the name of the XML file is autoconfig.xml. And then you're telling your container to create a object of employee class. CTX dot get bean emp typecasted stored in employee1. Directly I am printing that emp1 itself, because in the employee class, there is a toString method. It is returning address object. See here, return employee, see string return employee in the employee class, it is giving address objects. Okay, address objects in the sense, see who has created this address object has and who has injected that object's memory address into add container during runtime has created the objects of address class, and it has injected into the this add. Okay, this add we are directly printing which is present in the employee class. That's why we simply used, okay, for a change, toString method. Okay, system.out.println emp1. Make sure that you have saved, okay, a dependent class, dependency class also saved, autoconfig.xml is also saved. Let's go to the test class, run as Java application. There is an error. Where is the error? Bean creation exception. Error creating a bean. Error creating a bean with a name add defined in the class path. Instantiation of bean failed. org.bean. No default constructor found. Hmm. Let's go to the address class. There is an error. Error creating a bean with bean name add one defined in the class path resource. This employee class. Let me have Correct. Guys, we are using constructor dependency injection here. Okay. That's why we have to use C schema. I have declared constructors there and I am using it P schema. Okay. And let's try this time. I may get the output. Guys, I'm getting output. Employee add is equals to address. Okay, see here. It is returning address object. Inside that add will be there. House number is 66. City is equals to USA. This is nothing but okay. Using auto is equals to constructor attribute. Guys, why I was getting an error in the sense I'm using constructor dependency injection both in the dependent class and both in the dependency class. But in the auto config in the XML file, I have used p schema there. Okay, p schema can only p schema for setter dependency injection, right? That's why you should change it to c schema. Not only change it to c schema, guys. Yesterday I've told you we should keep this extra statement also. Okay, this will be not there by default. Okay, XML NSP. You should copy this first line, paste it in next line, change it from P to C and P to C here also. Guys, any doubts still here? Guys, hope no doubts. Guys, auto wiring using at auto wired annotation. The second approach. The first approach we have seen using a programmer manually by the programmer. Manually by the programmer makes use of three attributes called okay by type, by name, constructor attribute. By type and by name for okay sector dependency injection for auto wiring, and by name that constructor attribute can be done for automatic dependency injection of reference variable using constructor dependency injection. See, I don't want all those okay uh, attributes. I want to do it with annotations only. I want to do it with annotation only. Guys, I can do with annotations by using something called auto wired annotation. Guys, at auto wide annotation is used to perform automatic dependency injection of secondary dependencies or reference type dependencies into the dependent class. Into the dependent class. See, when we use at auto wide annotation, then there is no need of use of any setter or constructors for secondary dependency in the dependent class. Guys, there is no need to use setter methods also here. See, at least when I was using by type, by name, constructor attributes, I should use okay setter okay getter methods in the dependent class and dependency class also. Here, there is no need to use at okay setter and getter methods. You just have to use at auto wide annotation. With that, you have to use another annotation called at qualifier annotation. Okay, sir. When we use at auto wide annotation, then there is no need to use any setter methods. This annotation will automatically inject the secondary dependency, means objects address of one class into another class automatically during runtime. At auto wide is a property level annotation, guys. At auto wide annotation is a property level annotations. Hence, we have to always use on the top of the property or secondary dependency in the dependent class. On the top of the property, wherever you have declared, for example, I have declared private address add, right? That's your property. On the top of that, you have to use a at auto wide. At auto wide annotation should be always used with the at qualifier annotation. Guys, it should be always used with the at qualifier annotation and which takes the reference variable as an argument. This one, auto wide annotation will not take any argument, but at qualifier annotation will take the reference variable. Means whichever the secondary dependency or reference type you want to inject into the okay a dependent class automatically, that reference you have to give it okay as a argument for the qualifier annotation. At auto wide annotation is activated by instantiating the class called auto wide annotation bean post processor. Guys, I have told you no yesterday when we were using at required annotation, okay, we have instantiated okay required annotation bean post processor. Today we have to, in order to use at auto wiring annotation, okay, you have to instantiate at auto wide annotation bean post processor. If you instantiate this processor, you can use both auto wired and qualifier annotation as well. See here, guys, I am not using any setter and getter methods. You can see here, I am not using any setter and getter methods at all. Just created employee class. Guys, whatever I have told you manually, we are not using that in a Spring framework now. Okay, but I have shown you just how to do a automatic dependency injection using by type, by name, and constructor. But today, in everywhere we use this annotation only, because here we don't need to use setter and getter methods also. Just we need to use, okay, two annotations. And see here, same class is there. This is your dependent class. Public class employee is there. Private address add is there. Okay, now this employee class is depending upon the address class. During runtime, my container should create a objects of address class. It should inject into this employee class during runtime, right? So there is no setter and getter methods also. I am using here, you can see guys, I am using at auto wired at qualifier annotation. If you simply use at auto wired annotation, it will not work. At auto wired annotation will be always used with the at qualifier annotation. For that qualifier, you have to give an argument, and that argument should be reference variable. Okay, that argument should be reference variable which you have declared in the XML file. Okay, see here, same public void get information method I am using. This get info inside this get information method, same get house number and get city will be there. These two are non-static methods present in the dependency class. See guys, there is a one dependency class is here. The name of the dependency class is address. Same, it is depending upon two primitive dependencies here. Int house number, string city. Okay, and generate setters and getters methods for this, because you have to generate setter and getter methods here, because address class is not depending upon any okay, secondary reference variables. Second, at auto wired at qualifier will be used only when your class depends upon another class. See, employee class depends upon another class reference variable, right? That's why I have used at auto wired and at qualifier here. Okay, and dependency class is as usual. Okay, take any two primitive dependencies, generate setter and getter methods. Go to the XML file, guys. You don't need to, okay. According to the, okay, flow, what you should tell your container? You should tell your container to create objects of address class first, right? Object of address class. After creating object of address class, you should inject these two. And then during runtime, that object's reference address will be injected into the employee class automatically by using at auto wired and at qualifier annotation. See here. So according to the flow, you are telling your container to create objects of address class. Bean name, add class is equals to com dot auto wiring dot spring auto wire dot address. Fully qualified class name. Guys, it is depending, your address class is depending upon two primitive dependencies, right? Using setter dependency injection, you inject it. P hyphen house number is equals to 555. P hyphen city is equals to Bangalore. And you know, if you want to make use of, if you want to make use of, okay, at auto wired annotation, you should instantiate the contain. You should instantiate one thing called auto wire annotation bean post processor. See, I'm instantiating here. Bean class is equals to, see here guys, bean, okay, class is equals to, there is no IDE. Yesterday I have told you, just for instantiating, there is no need to take a, okay, IDE here. Okay, you can just take a, guys, you can take this as a name or IDE in XML configuration file. Yesterday I forgot to tell you. You can also take, every time I was taking IDE, right? You can also take it as a name. Okay, both are same. See, bean, okay, I don't want any IDE here. Just instantiating a class called at auto wired annotation bean post processor. You know how to get this fully qualified class name. You should go to the test class, try to, okay, try to create object for this. It will show an error. Control Shift Y. You just import it. You will get a fully qualified class name here. Okay. org.springframework.beans.factory.annotation at auto wired annotation bean post processor. And then see here, you need employee class objects, right? Because you need an employee class objects, because you need to call a get information method. Get information is method is present in which class? Get information method is a non-static method present in an employee class. So I need employee objects reference to call this. That's why I'm telling my container to also create, okay, objects of employee class as well. Okay, and rest everything is same. Okay, go to the driver class, same, everything is same. Okay, let's go to the IDE. Let's go to the address class, guys. You just, okay, remodify everything here. See, this is your address class. Address class is fine. Okay, let's go to the employee class. Guys, my employee class is ready. See here, I have just used public class employee at auto word at qualifier. You have to take a what you should take according to here. You should take ID here. You should take an argument. Means in the autoconfig.xml, whatever you take, I have taken add one. Okay, the same reference variable you should take in the dependent class. Guys, what is happening? What is your auto wide annotation is doing? Auto wide annotation during runtime, it is creating a objects of address class and it is injecting into the employee class. Okay, automatically without even using setter and getter methods also. Okay, dependency injection is happening here, but there is no setter and getter methods. Okay, there is nothing like that. Auto wide annotation will take care about everything. Okay, then let's come to the test class. Here employee emp is equals to, okay, now here I have to call emp dot get information method. I don't have a toString method. I have emp1 dot get information method. See here, there is a get information method readily available there. Just save it. Okay, see here, run as Java application. I am getting an error. I should have saved something. I've saved everything. Autoconfig.xml also saved. Test.java. What is the error I am getting? Error creating a bean name with add one defined in a class path resource. Would not resolve a matching constructor. Okay. Let's go to the address add. Okay. Make it add1. It is creating and it is injecting and execute. Now run as Java application. Exception in thread main. A bean creation exception. Error creating a bean with bean name add defined in the class path. Okay. Error creating bean name with a bean name add in the defined in the class path. Autoconfig.xml would not resolve a matching constructor. Do we have a constructor dependency injection? Guys, see here, I have to change it to p schema because in the address class there is a p schema here. That's why it is again showing an error. Now execute your test class. Again, java.null pointer exception. Go to the employee class. There is an add one. Autoconfig.xml. There is an add. Save it. Run as Java application. Still getting an error. Exception in thread main java dot okay lang dot null pointer exception. Com dot auto wiring at get host number because this dot add is a null. Get host number, get city. Fine. And then add1 add. I am getting null pointer exception here. Com dot auto wiring dot spring auto wire dot address dot get house number. This dot add is a null. This dot add is a null. Okay, I did not change my XML file. Go to the PPT, go to the XML file here, guys. I should have changed my XML file. That's fine. At auto wide annotation bean post processor. Guys, you have to instantiate that bean post processor in XML file. Okay, now it is in, okay, address class, employee class is saved. Okay, test.java will be there. And then autoconfig.xml is also saved. Run as Java application. Guys, I am getting an output. The house number is 666. The city is USA. Guys, this is how we can use at auto wide annotation at qualifier annotation. Guys, any doubts in this? Guys, are you people there? Nobody are asking anything at all.
Yes, no questions.
Okay, thank you. Guys, the next one is stereotype annotations. There are four types of stereotype annotations. Guys, this is the simplest thing. There is no dependency injection. There is no even P schema, C schema. Okay, you're directly in the dependency class itself. You can give a values, and you can okay, you know about scope already. You know what is the scope already, and you know okay at auto wide annotation. At scope means you can if you want we have used two scopes, right? Singleton and prototype. Whichever the scope you want you can give. If you don't give any scope, okay, by default it will be a singleton. If you want prototype, you can give a prototype. You know what is the difference between singleton and prototype? If it is a singleton, for every user request, in the sense even if you have a multiple user request, only one object will be created by the container. If the scope is prototype, for every user request one separate object will be created. Guys, here the value annotation can be used to inject, use it to allocate the value for your okay dependencies, primitive dependencies, either secondary dependencies into the class. There is no need to use p schema hyphen okay int is equals to 666. There is no need to give any value in the XML file. XML file will be okay minimized here. Just instantiation of a class is required. You know at auto annotation we just now used. This annotation is used to inject the secondary dependencies or reference types into the dependent bean. We have to use this on the top of the secondary dependency at a component, guys. See, at component, if you use on particular package, if you use this at component annotation on particular package, this will create a object. Okay, this component annotation will tell the container to create a object of all the classes in that entire package. In that entire package, this annotation is used to scan the entire package, and it will create an object for all the classes present inside the package. This annotation will make use of a camel case type of the class name as a reference variable for the object creation. Just you have to give a camel case objects reference there. This annotation we have to use always on the top of the class name. Guys, you can use on the top of the class name or you can use on the top of the package also. For example, if you use, for example, there is a one package. In that package, let's say 10 classes is there. For any one class, if you use, for any one class, if you use at component annotation, it's enough. Okay, in that package, for all the 10 classes, object will be created by the container automatically. There is no instantiation. Okay, there is no question of instantiation in the XML file. Scope. Okay, scope is okay to declare whether you want singleton or a prototype. Value for every dependency which is present in the class, okay, you can provide a value in the class itself, okay, rather than providing it in the XML file. At auto varied, which is used to inject a secondary dependencies into the class automatically. Guys, you can see here, I have taken one class here, dependent class. This is my dependent class. See guys, I have taken all the annotations here. I have taken all the annotations here. Employee class is there. Guys, this is how, okay, these are the annotations we always use. We always use in the Spring, okay, framework. Listen carefully. Public class employee is there. Okay. Now guys, for this employee class, I need one object. Sorry. For this employee class, I need object for every user request. For every user request. Then I will declare scope is equals to prototype. Okay. See, this prototype, I was declaring it in the XML file, right? I was declaring it in the XML file. Scope is equals to double inverted comma prototype. Rather than doing it in the XML file, you are doing everything in the class itself. Means whenever you declare scope is equals to prototype, okay, you are telling your container to create object for every user request. Guys, on the top of the class itself, you have used at component annotation. At component annotation scans this full package com.stereotype annotations.spring stereo. It will scan this full package and it will create objects of all the classes present in the this package. In this package, how many classes are present now? Only one class. Employee class is present. For this employee class, object will be created automatically. Object will be created automatically because I have used at component, and you have to provide with what object reference you want object to be created. I want employee emp1 is equals to new employee. That's why whatever the object reference you want, okay, you have to give the object reference as argument for the component. Guys, this employee class depending upon two primitive dependencies and one, okay, a secondary dependency, one reference types. What are the two primitive dependencies? Private int id, private string name, two primitive dependencies, and third one is, okay, you can see the third one is a reference type, means employee class is depending upon, okay, address class. This we call it as a secondary dependency or reference types. Guys, for int id and string name, I will give a value here only. See, last time earlier, how we were using in the XML file, p hyphen id is equals to 15, p hyphen, okay, name is equals to Praveen. Means we were using setter and getter methods. We were using p schema for setter and getter methods. We were using c schema for constructor dependency injection. Here there is no question of p schema, c schema. Okay, there is no need to use at all. Directly here itself, you are giving a value for id and name. Okay, you can use at value attribute. Guys, at value, I want to provide a input 15 for id field. 15 I am providing. For name field, I am providing a string called Praveen. Okay, double inverted comma Praveen. And address add. How it can be injected automatically? It can be injected automatically using at auto varied annotation. You know, at auto varied annotation. Public int get ID, same.
Are,
Okay,
are we not going to use @ qualifier for this auto wire?
you can use it.
It's necessary, right? Like last
Yeah,
time you
yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, it's necessary. I have to use it. I did not use it here. I should write. Okay. Public void get information method will be there. Guys, public void, see, setter and getter methods you have used. Public void get information method is there. Okay. And inside this get information method, I am calling get house number and get city. Okay. I'm using get house number and get city, which are present in the address class. Let's come back to the address class here. Okay. See guys, again address class is there. Address class. Okay. Again using at the component annotation. At the component annotation. Okay. And see, I need object of only employee class. That's why I'm taking a prototype, because inside the employee class only get information method is present. Okay, I don't need, okay, objects of here. I don't need a prototype here. Okay, public class address, and then here it is depending upon two primitive variables, two primitive dependency, private int house number, private string city. Okay, and then generate setter and getter methods. For house number, here itself I will inject a value. At value is equals to 156. At value is equals to Bangalore. And guys, see here, there is
One
nothing.
more doubt.
There is,
Uh,
yeah,
in the previous case, when we are declaring the value, both of the values we're declaring as strings. So how will the compiler like understand whether the H number is supposed to be integer or string?
You have say on the top of the property you have used, right? See, on the
Yes.
top of the property you have used at value. If you use at value annotation on the top of the property, if you can give anything in the double inverted comma, it will be considered only string here. If you give anything here on the top of the int, it will be considered as a int. That's why we call it as a property level annotations.
Okay, so regardless of the data type, we have to provide it in the form of string only, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And whichever the property and whichever the top of the property you have used, that type will be considered there. Here
Okay.
on the top of the property I have used here, 156 is considered as an int. Okay, here Bangalore is considered as a string. Guys, let's come back to here. There is no need to see here. I am not doing my full Spring configuration file is empty now. Just the default configurations you have to copy it, and you have to. There is no P schema, there is no C schema, there is no instantiation of there. You're not telling your container to create object of address class and employee class using any tags here. You're since you're using all these are stereotype annotations. All these are stereotype annotations. You have to just instantiate one class called com dot. Okay, you have to use this tag, guys. Remember, when you're using stereotype annotations, context hyphen. See, guys, context hyphen component. Okay, context colon component hyphen scan base package is equals to. Guys, you have to use this. Okay, like this only. You cannot change it. This, if you want to activate any stereotype annotations, this is a tag you have used. Context colon component hyphen scan attribute name is base package is equals to, you have to copy this com dot stereotype annotations dot spring stereo. See, whenever where we will get that in the sense, see here, whenever we use this at component at scope at value, we will get an error because you have to import it, right? Okay, you have to import it. And see here, package, the package will be created automatically there. Com dot stereotype annotations got spring dot spring stereo. Okay, that package name you have to copy it and paste it here. You remember this one. Com dot stereotype annotations dot spring stereo, and rest everything is same. Okay, instantiate your container. Okay, get the object using get the object of employee class using getBin method. You can separately call. You can separately call system.out.get number, get house number, emp.get id, emp.get name. Okay. And you can also call emp.get information method directly, because inside the get information I kept get house number and get city. Okay. Guys, now the house number is 555. The Bangalore is the house number is 555. The house number, sorry, two times I have taken house number there. Okay, you can change it. You can change it in the IDE. Let's go to Spring Stereo. Let's go to the IDE and let's go to the Spring Stereo. There is something called Spring Stereo. Guys, there is a main class here. Package I have created. Guys, whatever the package name you create here, okay, copy that package name and you should instantiate for this. Okay, you should paste it in an XML file. See here, I have created package name as com.stereotype annotations.spring stereo. You can give your own package name, but in the configuration file, these tags are compulsory. Hyphen, see here, context colon component scan base package is equals to, this is your own package name. This is your own package name, because stereotype annotations will be operated on package. It will scan the whole package, and for that inside that package, the objects will be created for the classes. That's why I've copied that, I've pasted here. You can see here com.stereotype annotations.spring stereo. Okay, and there is an address class here. Okay, and there is an address class here, and there is an employee class here. In the employee class, I did not use a auto word annotation. 1 minute. emp.get id, get id, get id, and yes, guys, there is no need to use a qualifier annotation here. See here, I am not using at the qualifier is equals to add. If you want, you can use it and declare it in the XML file. But what I am doing here is I am telling my container to create, okay, a camel case. Here, in the sense I have told you, no, it will create objects based on camel case, means address. How it will create in the sense I will show you how it will create. See here, address, okay, this is your address and camel case, okay, notation, again address is equals to new address. Okay, in the sense it will create object like this when you don't take any, okay, a qualifier annotation. If you take qualifier annotation, you can give your own reference variable here, add one, add two, like that. Here, since I am not taking any, okay, add qualifier annotation, what it is doing is, since the class name is a capital letter address, it will automatically create the objects on small address. Okay, address, okay, small address is equals to new address. In the sense I'm not taking any qualifier annotation. If you want, you can take a qualifier annotation and, okay, you can declare it in the XML file. So rather than doing that, I'm telling my container to create object on the camel case rule. Means when if it is a big employee, if I want to create a, okay, objects for employee class, employee small employee is equals to new employee. Means it will automatically consider camel case and it will store the memory address into that. That's why I did not take qualifier here. Okay. If you take a if you want to take a qualifier, you can take it. This is also one of the, okay, method to execute it. Guys, this is your employee class. This is your address class. Okay. And this is your configuration file. And the last one is a test.java. See, inside employee class itself, using EMP, I am also calling, see, using EMP, I am also calling get name and get ID. See, get name and get ID are non-static methods present in the employee class, right? So I am calling these two methods, including that I am also calling, okay, a get information method. If I call get information method, inside it is taking address dot get house number, address dot get city. See guys, inside this address, a reference, okay, memory address of the class address will be there. Okay, container will create a object of dependency class called address, whose object's address will be stored in the address. Okay, let's go to the test class, run as Java application. Guys, I'm getting outputs here. Praveen, 15, Praveen, employee house number is 156. The employee city is Bangalore. See, system.out.println emp.getID. emp.getIDE. See, IDE which I have declared is 15 and system.out.println, okay, get name. Okay, so here the name which I have given is Praveen and I am calling get information method. Inside the get information, it is calling get house number and get city. Get house number and city, what I have given, house number is 156 and, okay, city is a Bangalore. That's why I'm getting house number is 156, the city is Bangalore. Guys, this is how we can use stereotype annotations. Guys, any doubts? Guys, if there is no doubt, it's fine. We will end our session today. But guys, while you're coming tomorrow, okay, you better try to install SQL database in your system because, okay, tomorrow we are discussing important concept called Spring JDBC template. Okay, how JDBC, Java database connection from your Java application, how do we connect with a database and how do we, okay, access the data using SQL queries? I'm also telling a few SQL queries for basic CRUD operations. Okay, you try to install SQL Workbench. Okay, SQL database as well as a workbench. If you try to, there are more videos available in the YouTube. You just search how to install SQL database and workbench together. Okay, you can install workbench and database together in your system. Okay, if it is there, then it will be easy to understand and practice what is meant by a JDBC template. Before JDBC template, we had only JDBC. Okay, we see before JDBC template, we had JDBC only JDBC we had. JDBC is a separate a concept. Okay, the Java database connection, there we have to write a plenty of code. Instead of writing plenty of code for database connection, here we are using a templates. Okay, we are using a templates, and for that to understand, you should have SQL database in your system. Okay, we will see that tomorrow. Guys, any doubts? Okay, guys,
No.
we'll end our
Thank
session
you.
today. Thank you.